using the step sequencer, part 2. So I think we've looked at a lot of the basics of this. However, now I want to finish looking at some of the more detailed things here at the front. I want to make sure we've covered what the knobs do here, and then look at these instruments more specifically. So this first one is a pan, and remember, when you hover above something, if you don't know what it does, look up here at the quick view, and that will show you something like the name or some of the parameters. So we have panning, and we have channel volume. Then we have our 4 sounds here, and then a select light, which we can click on to select different instruments, or select on all of them to select all, and that allows us to do different functionality, which we're going to look at later. Okay, so for the moment, let's start with kick. I'm going to click on it, and it brings up the channel settings. And this allows us to alter the sound that's coming out, all based on this little sample file here. Now we have a number of different things we can do. We can load a different file if we want to, and we can have some parameters we can change with it, like resampling and load regions or load acid markers if you're using acid files, or keep on disk, which allows it to be streamed from the disk and not held in the memory of the program. Small file like this, let's just put in the memory all the way. We can have it loop or not, and that's only if the file itself has loop points. And then ping pong loop, that means going forward and backwards through the loop if it does have points, which this one doesn't, so we're not going to worry about it. We do have a time stretching function, which allows us to change the pitch, allows us to change the time stretch and how much time, and then we can tell it to either resample, we can tell it to go through transient mode, we can look at different modes here all the way down and through. And basically, your best bet at the beginning is resample, which is actually going to change the pitch and the time. That allows for the best sound in most situations, but if it's not working for you, or if it's not what you want, I recommend just trying each of these. There's really no way to tell which one's going to work the best for any different thing. However, you can use the auto mode, which is going to pick the best for the material. In this case, we're just going to use resample, because for this particular sound that's okay. And the reason why it's okay is because it's a kick sound, so I'm really not going to change much with the time stretching at all. But if I did want to pull the pitch down, I'm okay with the tempo slowing down as well. Now we do have some pre-computed effects as well, like remove DC offset, which is a really super low hum, which is affecting the sample. We can normalize to make it loud all the way up to 0. We can reverse it, which is kind of fun. We can also reverse polarity, fade, stereo, and then swap stereo. So that allows us to have a stereo effect as well. Now each of these down here give us some more control. This is a quick fade in and a fade out, and this is the pogo effect and a cross-faded loop and silence trimming threshold. So it allows us to deal with some silence. The pogo applies a pitch effect in and out, which is really useful for some types of drums like toms. If you want to have a pitch change over time, that's pretty cool. Let's play this for a second. You'll see that each of these update the waveform as well. So add a little artifacting as well, but it's just changing the overall pitch, but it's doing it so in a way so it changes a little bit over time, makes it kind of nice for some types of drums. Best to probably leave that at 0 for now. We also have an envelope here, which allows us to change the sound over time. We can add LFOs and filters. We're not going to talk about LFOs and filters right now, but the envelope's useful because it allows us to change the attack, sustain, decay, and release. So we can move the whole thing over some. The attack refers to the initial time that the sound comes in. If we do this, we're going to lose some of the attack and it'll come in softer. We can hold out the overall volume. We can change the decay. This is going to change that as well. Pull it up, and then we have the release. So this allows us to control the overall level of the sound over time. That's what an envelope does with each of those things. We can also come through, change basic level adjustments. We can change the polyphony, or how many notes can play at one time in this particular engine. And then we can change the root note, which is the note that if it's played, the sample plays at the original pitch and speed. So that's nice as well to have control over. And then some effects here with the echo delay in fat mode. And then an arpeggiator, which allows us to have chords play over time. We won't explore some of these now because the drums themselves don't really lend themselves